Sounds good.
All right, Coach. So first question I had for you is, I know recently in these kinds of press conferences you talked about how working on the layup is something you've been working on in practice to try to get some of those easy points back.
Yeah.
How's that been going for you, and what's the progress report?
Yeah, it's been going well. Just heavy emphasis on finishing and with contact as well. And so, like we've been in some closer games, and it comes down to that. And so we have to be so disciplined in that regard. So yeah, just emphasizing defense a ton and finishing at the beginning of practice. And so they've been doing better, and I expect those to be made at the rim. Like we have to convert, especially in transition. Post players at the rim, drives, like playoff 2. That's what we teach. We don't teach. Like I have a segment in film in WWP, not what we practice. And so if you're taking off of 1, shot blockers love the timing of that, and we just would rather them to playoff 2 be under control. And so just emphasizing that over and over and over again.
Coach, it seemed like the team took a step back after some good play lately. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I asked after the game, and they were just like, it was just weird. We were flat, and I'm like, yeah, if we're going to be flat and you can't score, like, then if we can't score, then you better defend because they can only score 36 points, right? If you're only going to score 37, you got to guard. And so I wasn't pleased with our effort. I thought their length really bothered us, and I don't know if there was, like, them thinking Hawaii, which they're a great team, they've won. I don't know if there was some fear in that, but I didn't see a team that had a lot of fight. And so I definitely thought we took a step back, and now we have to bounce back and be ready to take on Fullerton and UC Riverside.
What's the confidence level like in the locker room heading into Thursday?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think that they've had a good 2 days. They've stacked. I just emphasize playing really, really fast and trying to press these guys. But they're confident in the prep. I'm emphasizing being confident in the game and like when we need it the most. Like you've got to do your job at a high level to win games.
Coach, for Thursday, I know it's sort of a big promo night, as I understand it. It'll be Ag Night / Country Night with probably some Morgan Wallen bumping or whatever the kids are listening to.
Let's go.
But, how excited are you for the local FFA groups, farming groups to be coming, ag groups to be coming and supporting the team?
Yeah, I'm excited for any fans, right? But I'm excited for that particular group just because I think that Bakersfield, our team, like blue collar farmers work hard, and I want that to be represented with our product on the floor. And so I hope that everyone who comes sees that and that they can see that we have that same mindset and we're in alignment on that. And that's the only mindset we want to bring, especially representing Bakersfield, right? So yeah, looking forward to that, and hopefully they're a little rowdy. I love country music too, so it should be a good night.
Still on the thought of Thursday night's game, you got Fullerton coming in, who as a team has not had a lot of success, especially in the Big West so far. I know that you took a close one from CSUB. They lost a close one on the CSUB, so on paper it might seem like a pretty even matchup. But where are you feeling like your team might have the edge against Fullerton?
Yeah, and Coach Hirata's been there for quite some time, so well coached. They do a good job. I think that our advantages would be in transition, and we do have a little bit of a size advantage from a guard standpoint. Where we can run some of our actions to get those mismatches and play target ball, which I didn't think we could do against Hawaii, right? They won the height battle, length battle at almost every position. They're just tough. They're really solid defensively. But I think, yeah, we got to run. We got to pressure people and try to get deep into their bench. So that's a huge part of game planning this week.
And then after Thursday, you have to have a quick exit to get on the road to go out to Riverside, right?
Yeah.
How important do you think will it be to win or loss to play your game plan, to execute on Thursday, to at least still have as much momentum as possible, like I said, win or loss, heading into another road game?
Yeah, I think it's so important that we compete at a high level because you can build off of that, right, and having that momentum. If our girls are – we can get multiple people in double figures, right? It just confidence piece. It just like overflows to everybody else, and so we need to have a good showing. I'd like to win on Thursday, but you need to compete at a high level so that you have some juice going into Saturday. And UC Riverside presses a ton too, so yeah, we got to be ready on both fronts. But yeah, we got to manage. It's this league because everything's so quick. You got to manage legs in the Thursday game, and then if it's not close, you just almost have to clear your bench because you got to save them for the next game. It's an interesting dynamic, but I think that yeah, if we compete versus Fullerton, you should have some confidence to go in and win at UC Riverside. And told these guys, like, to get in the 8 seed, you've got to sweep a couple teams at home, and then you can start splitting. But you know, you want to at least beat the bottom half teams and get some sneaks on the road late. And I think that our group is still peaking. Like, I think they're still getting better, even though we're not getting the results. They're still together, still connected, still developing. And so that is good, that we're not getting stagnant necessarily and not progressing. Like, there's still a ton of room to get better. So hopefully you get that 8 or 7 seed, and then make some noise in the tournament, you know?
I know that today is the first day of a new semester for student athletes. So how are you guys adjusting from having a little bit more free time to focus on basketball and making sure your team stays on track?
Yeah, I think we're kind of in the same routine. They're happier because we're not at 6 a.m. this semester. We're at 12, so that's a plus. But we pretty much run this program. It's very structured, you know. They'll do their class. They're still in weights. Like, we lift the whole year here. There's some load management for some guys who don't play. They still condition. And then from a academic standpoint, you know, take care of your business. You have your study all hours. And just we're building out their blocks so that everything's pretty organized. But yeah, I think it's just getting back in the routine of classes is something they're going to have to get used to. But they finished with, I think, a 3.54 GPA in the fall, so expect that or better. So just do your job consistently. So always telling them what to do.
Well, thank you, Coach.
Awesome, thank you.
We're now ready to begin our midweek press conference, and we are joined here with head coach Rod Barnes. Now we will open up for questions.
Well, Coach, what's your takeaway from the Hawaii trip?
I thought we had our moments. I thought we did what we've been doing a little bit. We got behind. Thought some things that we need to correct on the road as far as we turned the ball off early, but, after that, I think the game basically boiled down to how many free throws, the differential between us shooting free throws and them shooting free throws. And, I thought we had some guys that played pretty well, but I thought overall as a team, we didn't defend well enough. And obviously, again, you can't have the free throws where it's that big of a difference. So we've got to try to figure that out. For the most part, I thought our guys competed. We still have Tom Mark that's out, so I think that hurts us defensively. And hopefully we can get him back sometime here soon.
So, have you been able to put your finger on losing on the road?
Usually, mostly what's been happening, I think, overall, and I hadn't been able to find a solution for it, of starting the way we start, because we've been, getting ourselves in a hole early. And, I think in the first 5 minutes, we had 5 turnovers. We finished with 11, but because they made some threes, we were digging ourselves out of hole on the road. So we got to correct that. We got to at least give ourselves a chance, in the first 8 minutes to try to win. And a lot of times in the game, you're trying to go in 4-minute segments. And we've been losing the first 2 when we've been on the road. And we've got to be focused, or, we're going to try different things. We've tried different warm-ups, lineups. So we may just show up at the game come Thursday night, just show up when the clock goes off and see can we fix it, because, again, we're turning the ball over. Again, when you think about it, you got 11 turnovers. That's a good game on the road. But you got 5 in the first 4 minutes, which was the difference in the game to me overall, because they were coming off a tough loss. And then all of a sudden you give them, a chance to believe that they should win, or now they're playing well, or they fixed their problems. And in the rest of the game, you find yourself playing again, playing even. But you're down 10 with, 4 minutes into the game. So we've got to correct that. And like you asked me a question, do I have an answer? We tried everything besides showing up at the first when the game starts. And we may try that Thursday, try to fix it. Because, again, after that, when we've been behind, we've come back. We've pretty much played even after we had the bad start. So we got to fix it.
So is it starting to feel like you're getting closer to fixing those road woes?
I don't after the other night. Again, it's just, we stressed it. Hey, let's just take care of the basketball, stay in the game, be aggressive, try to get to the free throw line and do some things and return the basketball over. Again, you always want to be the aggressive team when you go on the road, and you don't want to get behind. And the thing is, it's been different. If it's something that's different every night, then you can't get there. Well, we're having the same issue, and again, I said we've tried some of everything, and we're going to continue to try till we get it fixed, because we need to win road games. We've done pretty well here at home, but we've been behind on the road, fighting back, trying to get back in the game just too much, and we've got to get it fixed.
How sustainable was an offense where Jamel and Corey take 47 to 65 shots?
Well, you don't want that to happen every night. Again, you start talking about, we went back and looked at the fouls. I thought 2 fouls they called on Fidelis early were bad. So you got your starting center that's out. I thought they tried to take Marvin out of the game as far as really crowding him and not allowing him to, get a chance to get good looks. We don't want it necessarily to be that many, but if they shoot a better percentage, then it's okay. But our offense is not necessarily built for 47 shots from 2 guys. But, I mean, first of all, Jamel's been playing well, shooting a good percentage. So if they're going to allow him to take that many shots and get good looks, then it's okay. You don't think that's going to be the average every night for 30 shots. But the same thing with Corey. Finally, we got him back aggressive. He had been missing in action for about 3 or 4 games. So now we kind of got him going back. One of the things that we needed another guy to step up. And the other night, just because of Fidelis was out, we need CJ to kind of step up his game and be more aggressive. And not that he wasn't aggressive, because I thought, but he didn't look to score. Because I think some of the things, we're back to the same thing. I think it's a fine line between him as far as being aggressive and being concerned about turning the ball over. And we had discussions about that, but he's needed to score, especially when they've really targeted to take Marvin out of the game.
I mean, you need him as a factor offensively in the last 2 games. Again, not that he wasn't aggressive, but he wasn't a factor.
Right.
How do you get that kid who showed up at Santa Barbara a couple other games this year to
Right.
come,
Well, I think it's for him. I think it's all about him getting off to a good start. And I think he's a guy that feeds off his early success. Missed a shot early in that game, turned the basketball over on his first possession, and then he's got to mature to get to the point where he stays aggressive at that point. He's a kid that's really, thoughtful and conscientious of how he's playing and what's going on. And even after the game and during the game, I kept telling him, like, hey man, you got to play. Like you got to be aggressive. And again, because we started off so bad, and again, you want to take good shots, and we worked our way back in the game and made a game out of it. But when you go back and look at it, Marvin didn't score, Fidelis didn't score, Tom not with us. We're probably digging a little bit too far in our bench, especially if CJ is not scoring, to be on the road trying to look for that kind of, play that way. You know what I'm saying? If it's a lower play game where we're in the 50s and 60s and that's the case, but when you're playing in the got to score 75 points with no Marvin and no CJ and nothing from Fidelis, and you're asking a whole lot of some kids that's not their roles at this particular point.
On the defensive end, how do they get back to what they were playing like earlier in the month against the likes of Davis and Long Beach?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same thing. I think if you look at it, we're better defensively at home than we are on the road. But also, as you move forward, like, teams are going to try to take advantage of you. And we, again, when we have Tom Mark, we're a different defensive team. And he's just that big of a factor. He's as good for us defensively as you would think a lot of people may say they leading scorer or they leading point guard. And when he's been in games, we've been better defensively because just his activity, his length, his ability to block shots and protect the rim. When we lose him, then we lose our X factor, if that's what you want to say, on the defensive end. But also, we got to get better at it. That's just the bottom line. But, we talked last week, and I said this league is a league that scores. So this is not a league like the Big Ten used to be, or the Missouri Valley used to be, where it's not going to be 60 to 42 or 48. It's not going to be 50. This is a league that plays in the 80s, and most of the teams average above 74 points. So that's why we went and got the kids that we did, so that we could pick up our scoring. And our defense is definitely not where it needs to be, and we got to get better at it. And we got to figure out how to do that without Tom Mark for the time being.
Do you feel like the guys are more well rested after just one game last week?
I don't know. We work. I mean, I mean, really probably had to ask them in a sense. We gave them some time off. We didn't go as hard as long because we got to make a push at the end of the year. But our guys live in the gym. I mean, and this is not a team that even when we give them days off, they're in the gym and they're working. We didn't actually practice yesterday. We just had team meeting and individual meetings, and they allowed the guys to shoot on their own. We're in a good place. If we get Tom Mark back healthy, we're in a pretty healthy place with our team, and I don't sense that our team is tired at all. And I think the week off probably helped us some, but I think our coach, Joey, has done a great job with our conditioning. So, probably if we look at the mid-February or later than that, then you may start factoring in a little bit of fatigue.
So, Coach, your situation on your front line, your big men, especially offensively, how do you evaluate them? And, Fidelis has his moments, but then he has games like the Hawaii game. And again, I know the officiating might have been part of that. Shakir, again, has a moment or two, but Cam seems to show a flash here, too, as well. What did you see out of Cameron Clark, and how do you juggle those things?
Well, it's first of all, I just think in the process of developing any kids, we have Fidelis that, that's the lead guy. It's like having Corey Stevenson or Marvin. Those are guys that have been here, that have proven that they can do something. So then as the year goes on, you try to develop other guys, where Marvin the fourth has kind of stepped up to be our second shooter, if that's what you want to say, another shooter that can shoot the basketball. He's been consistent. Shadur is a kid that, I think is coming. Like he keeps, like you're saying, showing flashes. I thought because of, making the decision to go with Fidelis and Shakur early, Cameron didn't get that many minutes on the floor. So again, during this time, kids need to get an opportunity to play to get better. And, he's been practicing well, and sometimes the understanding of how to get to the floor when you're not playing is difficult for some guys. And I thought he started getting to the place where it's like, okay, those two guys are going to play, I'm not going to play, which hurt his development. And through just talk and showing him and giving him examples of guys in the past, giving him example of guys that are starting to play right now, I think he's got a hold to understanding like, hey, I can help us. Because again, when you're defining roles and you're talking about depth, it's hard to play three big guys. It's hard to play 3-point guards. But then the point is Cameron is good enough to play for us, and we've never doubted that. Now we're starting to see that he's starting to practice better. He's starting to show more flashes as he did the other night, and that was flashes that he showed early in the year. So when you're looking at it, you kind of look at matchups. You look at the other night, it was foul situations that are different, and I said before, and I believe he's the dude that's in between. He can defend well enough as like Fidelis. He's not as strong, but also he has a knack of getting to the right spots and getting open shots that I think he can score a little bit more than Shadur. It's just when you have three guys, who wins the position, who's the backup, then you got to try to work the other guy. But he's in a position now that hopefully he practices well this week, that I think he's confident enough and obviously skill sets enough that he can continue to help us, which, again, he helped us the other night. I thought our biggest issue, besides the free throws, if you want to talk about that part of it, was that third guy. And whether it's been CJ or whether it's been Marvin, we didn't have either one of those guys get us enough points offensively to help us. And then again, I think defensively, we just got to be better than what we were. Shot too high a percentage to go on the road and try to win.
What were your thoughts? I know foul trouble was a part of it, but they hit the glass pretty hard on you guys. You got some tip-ins and things of that nature. Your thoughts on what you saw there around the rim?
Well, first of all, they got good size. That's first of all. I mean, like they're guys that are 6'4", 6'5", they're 210 and things like that. So when you look at it and you dive into it, sometimes our big guys were crashing guys to the glass, and we were taking the first guy to get there, so that would leave the big guy open to get the rebound. Another thing was they beat us off the dribble a few times, and our big guy went to contest, and they got it on the rim, and their big guys got the rebound. That's defense. That's defense that if we don't allow them to beat us off the dribble, our big guy doesn't have to come to help. So that hurt us some. But also, they're a good rebounding team. And again, we had some matchups at times with, 6'5" guys. And they got guys on the bench that were playing the three that was 6'8", 6'9". So their size kind of was an issue for us. And I don't want to make excuses or whatever, but if Tom is there that we could play bigger, it's different. If Tom is there and Corey is now our small forward, we have more size to rebound the basketball. And because of that, now we're playing with Corey and a smaller wing, which that could be Jamel or Marvin. So the matchup issue didn't help us.
So let's talk about Tom. Is his injury?
It's an ankle. It was
but is it
yeah.
lingering longer than you thought? I mean, what about Thursday and Saturday?
Well, I definitely think he's out Thursday. We're hoping that we can have him back for Saturday. It's just a high ankle sprain, and it's taking time, I was hoping the night that he hurt it, he'd be back in the game, but he wasn't. And, he doesn't need surgery or anything. It doesn't need a cast or anything. It's just trying to get him back. It's getting better every day, and, I say Thursday because I'm trying to be, on the very cautious side of it. And if he was back Thursday, it would be somewhat of a surprise. But hopefully we can get him back for Saturday. But I'm unsure this early in the week.
So it is high ankle. Last week you didn't think so. So you think it is high ankle?
Yeah, it's ankle.
Right, that's tough. Fullerton may have done you a favor. Instead of you guys walking into their gym saying they haven't won anything, they won their last game. Your thoughts as you get ready for the Titans?
Well, you got to play every game. Obviously, you kind of hope when it's 7 or 8 losses that a team can get a win because they're desperate for a win. We're desperate in a different kind of situation that we're desperate for a road win. So I'm sure them getting back home, they're going to be more confident than they were as far as a team to be Long Beach at Long Beach. That's somewhat of a rivalry. So, I think our focus mainly has been the things that we've had an issue with on the road. We're going to take care of the ball this week in practice, and we got to play defense without fouling. And again, we just got to get a little bit more balanced scoring than we did the other night. But I think our team, the great thing about it is our team is not. I don't think there's this thought of doubt of winning on the road yet, or scared or can we do it on the road. But I think there's a sense from the coaches and trying to relay that to them, the urgency we have to play with being on the road. It's hard to get down any place, especially in this league. It's a league of good coaches and good talent, and there's no one coming in that you just can spot them 10 or 12 points and think it's going to be an easy night. And we found a way to make that a little bit of a habit, and we've got to get out of that. And we'll do everything we possibly can to, for that not to happen in the first, 6 to 8 minutes, and then try to play it out from there. We watched film yesterday. It's 3 minutes and something to go, like 21 minutes, and we're down 6 in Hawaii. But we took all the energy and effort and, to get to that point. And hopefully we're trying to do that to build a lead, or have them trying to catch us up at that time. So my conversation with our team is our approach in the first 6 to 8 minutes has to be different. And hopefully, again, with all the kind of tricks and trades that people do, we may just show up at the game for game time, see does that work, because we've tried everything else. Everything you could possibly do, we've done it.
So, what challenges does Fullerton present? I know O'Day and,
Yeah.
and I think it's a Wainwright or something.
Yeah, well, first of all, O'Day is a good guard, but they've got good size overall, not 6'9" guys. They have a bunch of guards and wings that are 6'4", 200 pounds, 6'5" guys like that. So their physicality could be a problem for us. So we've got to make sure that they're a good defensive team. They're a really physical team. So we're going to have to, my concerns, what we're focusing on is because they're physical, we got to take care of the basketball and be strong with the basketball. We got to play I would anticipate a physical game, and hopefully the refs allow us to play. That's from both sides, not saying anything favorable for us, but because their brand of basketball this year is physical, and they try to get to the basket, and they're a lower scoring team, and they're trying to grind it out, and similar to some teams that we've had here. They haven't been a team that scored a lot because it was a possession game. So it needs to be our pace. We want to play the game a little bit faster because we think we're capable of scoring more. But we're going to have to make sure that we rebound the basketball, and then we got to play physical without getting fouls, and that's always a concern.
This popped in my head, not to
Sure.
bring it up in this case, but I know road wins have been tough, but you guys haven't won at Fullerton, have you?
Well, years ago.
Years ago?
Yeah, we beat them when we went to when I first got here, we beat everybody in the Big West. But also on our way to what was the tournament, the CIT or someplace like that, we beat them at their place. Last few years we've struggled with them there. We've had some good games against each other, but it's been probably a few years since we beat them on their home court. So it'll be a big win for us, but in a road game right now, we need to get one regardless of where it is.
I'll even admit I didn't walk it through that door, so.
No.
What about as far as, I don't know if I'm going to phrase this correctly.
Sure.
But when you're playing a team that's lower in the standings, and I'm not disrespecting anybody, but when you're playing a team and you're in a tight conference, top 8 go in, if everybody else is beating Fullerton, it seems, or Poly, just given records again, if that's a team you lose to, it seems like one step forward for everybody else, one step back. If you lose, it's like 2 games almost. I'm just sort of wondering the importance of winning games against teams that are struggling.
Well, I think you can't count anybody out at this particular point, because I think, first of all, Fullerton is capable. They've shown to go on the road and beat a good Long Beach team, and they played Hawaii a good game. And so you don't really think about that yet because, again, one thing that we've done that I think only a few teams have done in our league. I know Irvine's got to be one because they're undefeated. Everybody lost a home game. So you don't really start to get into that yet because it's just a little bit too early. I think probably 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, then I think it starts to factor in because it's not enough games. The sample size isn't big enough because, again, they can win 3 or 4 games in a row, and there's certain things that happen. They could be in 4th or 5th place. It's the same thing with us. I mean, we can go on 2 games. I think now we'll be like, if the right things happen, we'll be in 4th place. So I think right now it's just, trying to get a game every time you can get one. And, this is our next game. And for us, it's the next 6 to 8 minutes that's important to us to get ourselves where we need to be. But I do understand what you're saying, but I think it's just a little bit too early for that. It's a road. I mean, we just talking road win. That's. I mean, if this was UC San Diego or Irvine or whoever it is, at this particular point, we'll be talking about, hey, because if you look at the standings and what had happened, if we can get a road win, then we become in the mix of a lot of stuff, then that means people got to come to our place and beat us. And that we play well here. You know, we still got to win games, but we play well here.
So my last question, you've referenced it a couple times, so I just sort of want to
Yeah.
pick at it a little more.
Okay.
You've had some slow starts.
Yeah.
You referenced that, Santa Barbara, your last 3 road games have all been slow starts. And I know you said, well, maybe we'll stay in the locker room until the buzzer sounds. I don't know. But have you had slow starting teams before? What's the, as a player yourself, the
Yep.
psychology of that part of the game? It can either beat you down or you can beat it. I don't know.
Right.
But what are your thoughts in terms of having that little bit of a conundrum there with the slow starts?
Well, I think at this particular point, like I mean, there's different teams are built different, and you try to work your way through. That's the point of getting better through the year, is that you find a solution to the problem that you're having, and that happens now. It's more than what I would say it used to be because of the newness of a team. You know, I was explaining to our guards just yesterday, Jamel and CJ, like there's not many teams in the country that are starting 2 junior college point guards that are new to the game, you know, to a team. And there's going to be some little, you know, ups and downs that'll happen. The veteran guys understand this is just tonight, or this is just this half, and trying to help them to navigate that, to say, hey, man, I had a bad first half, but I'm coming back the second half, and it's going to be all right. Or the first 2 or 3 plays wasn't good, but, you know, kid like Jamel missed the first couple of shots. Then now is he aggressive or not aggressive? So, again, that's why I'm not just overly like, our urgency is for seeding. It's not because I'm concerned about our team not believing that they can win on the road. It's more about, man, if we can get a road game, continue to do what we do at home, it puts us in a better seeding. It's not as if we're fighting, we don't have confidence, or we don't think we can do it. Just wanting to, as you move forward, seeing a change. And that can be different. I thought the other night, I thought CJ was not aggressive because of, hey, man, we got to get off to a good start. I don't want to turn the ball over, but then he turned it over. And that's just things, again, through talk and growth, just like you do with Jamel. Like, hey, man, listen, you missed a couple shots. That wasn't an issue the other night, but you tell him, hey, you missed a couple shots, it's going to happen. You know, and that's not the end of the game. Just keep on playing. And I think it's just us learning and developing and seeing it as it is and understanding. But I don't get the sense, to just maybe end it, that our guys are saying, man, we can't win at home, or we don't, I mean, on the road, or, you know, this team, we just not going to win one on the road, anything like that. I don't sense that from us. I sense that from our team, our players trying to figure out what is it that's going to help us to get started. And that's part of our coaches. That's part of something we need to do. And some of that is explaining and talking to them. Hey, CJ, I need you to be aggressive. If you turn it over, you turn it over. If you miss a shot, miss a shot. You know, here, Jamel or whoever, you know what I'm saying? We got to be aggressive with what we do as we were at home. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think, in a week or so, if we're not doing it, then it becomes maybe play a little bit more psyche in. The biggest problem, to just answer, is that if you get behind and you get defeated, that you won't come back. That's when you really start to get worried that if we get 8 or 10 down and we have no fight or have no understanding of how to get back in the game, then it becomes even a bigger problem or issue. I thought early on, San Diego, early in January, late December when we went to North Dakota State, we got behind and we played our way out of the game. And I think we've got that part fixed, but now we got to get the part fixed of not getting behind at the beginning of the game.
Do you think your team's easily distracted on the road, or maybe a little immature or anything? Or?
I just think it's a sense of understanding how to win or start, approach. I think we're getting some of that now. But again, because of the other night, it was hard to play into that because them being on the road, I thought our approach to practice, I thought some things went different for us to come into the game. And I didn't think we were afraid in the game. I just thought we were overcautious. You can't do that. And again, more experienced veteran guys get that. This is, I guess, CJ's 4th or 5th conference road game. You know, and it's different when might have a guy like Devin Askew, or you may have a guy like the kid at Riverside that's been through the league and understand it a little bit better. But there's no excuse for him. It's just understanding that as a coach, not to panic, give him some grace, work with him, explain. Same thing with Jamil. Pepper would miss 8 or 10 shots in a row and then make 9 or 10 shots in a row. Pope would do the same thing, you know what I'm saying? So just trying to explain to them, hey, that's not the end of it. Hey, let's just keep playing through it. And that's a lot of times where everything starts, with your guard play.
You guys good? Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Good question.